Did you know a Paleolithic woman probably had her period only 100 times in her entire life? Today, the average woman has it more than 400 times. Something changed drastically. And it wasn't just technology. It was your own body responding to a completely different world. Before we continue, one quick thing. If secrets like this about your ancestors fascinate you, subscribe right now. Every week, we uncover a new mystery about how early humans lived. With that said, let's get started. Periods seem like something completely normal, almost invisible in human history. But they're actually one of the rarest traits in the entire animal kingdom. Almost no mammal menstruates. Only primates do it, along with a few species of bats, the elephant shrew, and an African spiny mouse. That means your body does something that 98% of mammals simply don't do. Your dog doesn't do it. Neither does your cat. Not even most great apes do it with the same intensity as humans. This trait appeared millions of years ago, long before modern humans even existed. And for almost all of that history, nobody had paper, cloth, or any product designed to manage it. Understanding how they handled this can change the way you see your own body today. Because every strange instinct you feel during those days, every craving, every sudden wave of fatigue, traces back to those same prehistoric women. Most mammals don't menstruate because their uterus only reacts when an embryo is present. Without pregnancy, the body simply reabsorbs the tissue. Nothing is lost. Nothing is expelled. The human body works differently. Every month, your uterus builds a thick layer of tissue, just in case. It doesn't wait for any signal from an embryo. It prepares itself alone, like a camp set up before anyone knows if there will be a battle. If no embryo arrives, that layer breaks down and leaves the body. Scientists believe this evolved as a form of maternal control. It lets the body decide which pregnancies continue before investing too much energy in them. It's an evolutionary strategy, not a design flaw. Some researchers compare it to a biological insurance policy, activated month after month for hundreds of thousands of years, long before humans even walked upright. But that same strategy left an uncomfortable question for your ancestors. What did they do with all that blood, month after month, with no paper, no soft cloth, nothing close to a modern product? Think about it. No supermarket. No industrial cotton, no pharmacy around the corner, just whatever the land offered that day. Here comes the twist almost nobody expects. Prehistoric women probably didn't get their period every month like women do now. Anthropologist Beverly Strassman spent years studying the Dogon women of Mali, a people who live without modern contraception. She discovered something revealing. Between the ages of 20 and 34, these women menstruate on average just once a year. After 35, that number rises to only about 4 times a year. Across their entire reproductive lives, many Dogon women barely reach 100 periods total. A modern Western woman can go past 400. Something similar happens with wild chimpanzees, our closest evolutionary relatives, who also menstruate very few times in their lives thanks to constant pregnancies and offspring that depend on breast milk for years. The difference isn't genetic, it's lifestyle. Prehistoric women got pregnant up to 8 or 9 times and breastfed for years, not months. Frequent breastfeeding naturally stops ovulation. So the monthly period that feels like the norm today is actually quite recent in evolutionary terms. It's a product of fewer pregnancies and much earlier weaning. What feels routine to us was, for them, almost a rare event, almost a special signal within the group. But when it did happen, what exactly did they do with the blood? Archaeology and ancient texts give us a few clues. In ancient Egypt, women used softened papyrus, rolled up like a makeshift tampon. Egyptian medical papyri, like the Kahun papyrus, already described menstruation almost 3,800 years ago and treated it almost as a sign of purification, not dirtiness. In Greece, according to Hippocrates, women wrapped linen around small pieces of wood. In Rome, they used wool, one of the most absorbent materials there is besides cotton. Hunting peoples in North America used buffalo hide and moss, and in colder climates turned to rabbit fur, much warmer against the skin. Aboriginal communities in Australia used plant bark and absorbent ash, while some Inuit peoples used cured seal skin to protect against both cold and blood at once. In much older societies, they likely used bog moss, animal hides, and plant fibers, the same materials they used for almost everything else, from clothing to tools. In many of these cultures, shame as we understand it today simply didn't exist. It was just a practical problem, solved with whatever nature offered nearby. But not every society treated periods so naturally. Some turned it into something that had to be hidden, literally, outside the camp. In dozens of cultures around the world, menstruating women were sent to a separate hut for several days. Two theories try to explain this behavior, and they point in almost opposite directions. The first one says the smell of blood attracts predators. Keeping the woman away from the main group may actually have been a way to protect the whole tribe. It wouldn't be just superstition, but a survival strategy disguised as ritual. The second theory goes in a completely different direction. Some researchers believe these days of retreat were actually the first spaces of rest and female power in human history. Women gathered together, away from daily work, sharing knowledge across generations. Some even suggest that tracking the lunar cycle alongside the menstrual cycle helped create the first human calendars. Still, not every culture experienced this as punishment. Among the San people, hunter-gatherers from southern Africa, menstruation caused no fear or shame, and women held a social status very similar to men's. That shows something important. Menstrual shame isn't universal or inevitable. It's something each culture decided in its own way, and that decision still shapes how we talk about it today, thousands of years later. Here's another detail few people know. In several tribal cultures, a girl's first period wasn't hidden. It was celebrated with a full ceremony. It marked her passage into adulthood in front of the whole community, with songs, gifts, and sometimes entire days of celebration. Compared to that, the uncomfortable silence surrounding the topic in many modern societies feels, when you really think about it, pretty recent and pretty strange. Since we're talking about instincts, you've probably heard the myth that women who live together automatically sync their cycles, like a silent signal within the group. It sounds logical, almost tribal, but modern science hasn't been able to confirm it with solid data. Several studies with precise tracking found no real synchrony between roommates or close friends. What is true is that cycles vary so much from woman to woman that two of them lining up by pure chance is more common than it seems. Even so, the belief stays alive, maybe because it connects to something very old. The feeling that the female body is tuned to the rhythm of the group. An idea that comes straight from tribal life, where everything, from food to danger, was faced together. And here's the fact you'll probably repeat tonight. Genetically, your body is still designed to have few periods over a lifetime, just like Dogon women or your Paleolithic ancestors. But modern lifestyle, with fewer pregnancies and much shorter breastfeeding periods, makes a woman today go through 4 times more menstrual cycles than a prehistoric woman. It's not that your body changed. It's that the world around it changed completely, and your body hasn't caught up yet. Multiplied across an entire fertile lifetime, that's hundreds of extra cycles your body was never really designed to handle, one after another, without the long pauses your ancestors had. Periods aren't just biology. They're a direct window into how your ancestors lived, loved, and survived. Every drop of that history is still written into your body, even if nobody ever told you so. If you had to choose, would you rather live with 100 periods, like a Dogon woman, or 400, like now? Tell me in the comments. And if this fact surprised you as much as it surprised me, hit like and subscribe, because every week we dig up one more secret about your prehistoric body.